From 101.5 FM, I'm KSherley. Jackson Police Chief has promoted a CID lieutenant to become his executive assistant. I learned of the personnel change and a new administrative position within the Jackson Police Department. To find out more, I contacted Jackson Police Chief Gill Kendrick and asked him about the newly filled assistant position.
Okay, so let's get some clarification on that from the get-go. It's not a new position.
Okay.
Initially, it was called an administrative. It was called you were an administrative assistant to the chief of police. Chief Staples had that. In fact, Chief Larry Price served as his administrative assistant during the tenure of time that Chief Staples, or for a period of time that Chief Staples was affiliated with the Jackson Police Department. So this is not a new position. I'm not referring to the position as an administrative assistant. It's called an executive assistant to the chief's office. It's not a promotion, so therefore there's nothing that has to do with rank. There's nothing that has to do with a pay increase. Nothing of that nature. It's just an individual being moved into another tasking assignment for the needs of the agency as far as our strategic planning is concerned.
Let's talk about that. How does this person fit in with the current administrative structure? How does it benefit the law enforcement in the community?
Okay, given the fact of what we have initiated coming on board over here with our CompStat program, it takes a lot of research to get out and look at those programs, what agencies are doing elsewhere, how they are applying the program, how it's benefiting them, how the semantics of maybe their agency differ from the semantics of or dynamics of the Jackson Police Department, how we can bring it in, how we can tweak it, and once having done so, how we can present it, how we can go through the training curve or the learning curve and actually get everyone acclimated to it, and then, of course, that long, drawn-out process that sometimes is involved until we feel like we have a little momentum going. That's just in and of itself in one consideration as far as strategic planning. And strategic planning is going to be a situation that is synonymous to short-term, intermediate, and long-range goals as far as the agency is concerned, which is for us to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Jackson, Tennessee. There's many things that populate our radar as far as needs are concerned. One thing that populates our radar is the fact of us looking at other means of revenue that would be advantageous to our agency as far as the fact of us being more progressive, more proactive, more up to speed, if I might even use that terminology, as far as some of the ways and means that maybe drugs, gangs, gun violence, other issues that populate the radar of our responsibility to our community to improve their quality of life. And as we look at that, we embrace the fact that we shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. There's someone somewhere already trying a program. They've already done this. It's already been through, I guess you might say, the trial and error, and a lot of refined products are coming out. So as far as development is concerned, we need to look at those things. But in order to look at them, it's going to take somebody researching to make sure that there's a particular topical area out there that we feel is of interest to the agency and for the good of the community. And it goes back to almost that same analogy as far as our CompStat program is concerned, bringing it in, looking at it, tweaking it, modifying it, getting it ready as a package to go out and disseminate through the agency. Sometimes those things like that take a long, drawn-out process.
Chief, how is these responsibilities different, or how do they fall under a different umbrella than, say, you have two deputy chiefs? Is this something that either of them could be doing?
Well, really not. I mean, their plates are full now as it is, with the fact of, manpower allocations, with the fact of so many existing issues that they're having to divert resources and other things of that nature. And, of course, they have areas of responsibility, in a lot of respects in that regard. But this is more umbilical to the chief's office than the responsibilities of the chief, as far as things that chief is needing to do, where they really have no one else that they can give this to that takes that full time and commitment.
Before moving this lieutenant out of CID, did you look at the manpower in CID and decide whether that was going to be sufficient without this person, or are there plans to move someone into CID to replace this position?
If there's no plan there, in fact, there's no one that would be moved into CID to replace this position. So therefore, it did not leave a vacancy. This individual was just actually pulled out of CID to facilitate helping in this regard. And as far as looking at it, of course, you're always looking at it. You have to figure out how to best manage your resources you have to accomplish the goals and objectives that are at hand. To me, what I feel that this is going to bring to the table is giving us that levity to get a little faster down the road as far as what we need to do. And if we can do more to be more proactive, and in being more proactive and poised in that regard, then what I'm thinking we're going to accomplish is one of those situations where that proactiveness has actually helped in keeping a lot of crimes from occurring. So therefore, it doesn't require that criminal investigative follow-up and so forth.
So you see this position as a position of proactive nature in law enforcement.
Absolutely, and we have to constantly be there with the ever-changing skyline, the ever-changing barometric issues that are synonymous to law enforcement, and we all know that we're doing, well, at one time we were saying that we were doing more with less. Now the terminology is we're doing less with less. Well, the citizens, we can't, I don't think as an agency we can poise ourselves by saying that we're going to do less with less. We're going to have to continue to do more with less, because that's the expectation of our citizens, to serve them to the very best of our ability. That is our mission statement, that's our focus, that's our goal and objective, and we're going to have to constantly look at the ways that we go about addressing that and how we achieve it.
So in this process of the reassignment of the resources or the assets of JPD, did you discuss this was this exclusively an idea that you saw that you brought back from one of the Chiefs Association meetings or one of the conferences, or was this something that came from within the department? Did you discuss it with others? What was the planning to decide that this was a good position?
It had been discussed for quite a period of time with the command staff, what I call the executive level down here, and that's the deputy chiefs and our legal advisor. I mean, they were aware for quite a period of time, and I'd already told them that the chief's office was entertaining a position of an executive assistant to accomplish some of the goals and objectives of the office. So they were fully cognizant of that.
Where did you go, hey, that's something that we should be doing in Jackson, Tennessee? Was it because you saw it had been done in the past? Was it an idea that you got from a conference? Was it something that you read? Where did the idea of this, what you call this proactive response, where did it come to your office from?
Oh, I guess you might say the proactive response has just been a passion of mine and something that's been spurned in all the years of serving as a chief, and thinking about, well, if, we'd already been out there doing this and we could alleviate this ever happening, that would have been proactiveness rather than reactiveness. And I just think that's a better posture of being. So I guess the passion for that has certainly come about from the fact of, why wait till something happens? If you're aware of something you can do to fix it, then you ought to be fixing it, and shame on you if you're not doing that. So that's where that came from. Of course, as far as the position itself is concerned, like I said, it had already been something that had been exercised and used previously by the Jackson Police Department, and as I'm sure probably not a lot of other agencies and so forth. In fact, it's used presently by our mayor's office as far as the city of Jackson is concerned, with those people that are administrative to his position and meeting the goals and objectives of his office.
Tell me what a job description, when you sat down, how did you summarize? What did you say, here's what your job is going to be?
Basically look at the duties and responsibilities as far as the job is concerned, talking about the skills and the knowledge that they would have. So it means they're going to have to have a pretty in-depth knowledge as far as clerical skills, computer, things of this nature is concerned. They're going to have a very strong resourcefulness as far as research and development. So therefore, that's imperative in this day and time as far as an acclimation to computer technology. I want to see, they were told that they would need skills as far as written comprehension, oral comprehension, written expression, oral expression, speech clarity, things of this nature, because this person may literally, because of other demands and so forth on the position that I have, they may be required to go and speak to a group concerning some issue or concerns that a group might have that would need to be addressed. So they're going to have that ability to do so. They're going to have the ability to have a collective mindset and passion to work with the agency as a whole. So, I mean, there's quite an extensive list of expectations with this position.
Chief, if you would, I believe a decision has been made. Are you ready to announce who's going to fill this seat?
Yes, Lieutenant Melinda Wyatt.
Lieutenant Linda Wyatt. And Lieutenant Melinda Wyatt.
Right.
What were her responsibilities in CID?
She was administrative oversight to the Auto Theft Division.
Chief, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, Mr. Shirley. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. That was Jackson Police Chief Gill Kendrick. Lieutenant Wyatt becomes part of an administrative staff which includes a chief, an executive secretary, 2 deputy chiefs, 7 captains, and now an executive assistant. The CID, or Criminal Investigation Division, is led by Captain Mike Holt with Lieutenant Randy Hampton, Lieutenant Mike Johnson, and Lieutenant Tyrese Miller. The division maintains a certified staff of 19. Responsibilities include financial, auto, property crimes, all violent crimes, sex offenders, missing persons, alert, preliminary investigations, and an evening shift. Lieutenant Wyatt was one of the applicants who sought the job of Chief of Police when Chief Staples retired. Her new responsibilities to the Chief have already begun. From the newsroom, I'm KSherley.